Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty radical, a philosophy of photography that's actually less about taking pictures and more about a way of being. It's a discipline of conduct, of waiting, and of just being quiet.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with a question that might honestly change how you look at your camera. What if the whole point wasn't about hunting for that perfect shot at all?
The idea here is that the image itself, it isn't the goal. It's just a consequence, right? A residue that gets left behind after a moment of perfect balance between you and the world. The photo is just the proof, like frost on the grass, that you were there and you were still. So, to really get a handle on this, we first have to talk about the problem it's trying to solve. And that's this whole idea of photography as this kind of aggressive act, you know? We even say it, we take a picture from the world. Now, just look at the language here. It's fascinating, isn't it? On the left, you've got these really strong, active words: framing, extracting, possessing. But on the right, everything just shifts. It all becomes receptive, waiting, witnessing. This isn't just semantics. It's a complete flip in the entire approach. At its core, this whole practice is built on saying no. It's a series of refusals. You're actively letting go of your usual impulses, that urge to impose your vision, to dramatize everything, and to treat the landscape like something you can just capture and take home. It's this internal refusal that really shapes the whole physical practice. Okay, so how do you actually do this? How does this philosophy translate into practice? Well, it starts way before you even think about your camera. The real work, it begins with the simple act of arriving. Now, the ideal place for this is what's called a thin place. And don't picture some perfect postcard landscape. No. Think of those marginal, kind of unstable environments. Coasts, bogs, places that are hard to label and impossible to control. These are the places that naturally start to break down our usual mental walls. And this is the ritual for entering these places. It's not about hiking to a viewpoint. It's a slow, physical process of shedding the outside world. You walk away from the easy path, you let your body's rhythm sync up with the land, and you cool what's so brilliantly called the engine of the mind. So you see, arrival isn't about reaching a spot on a map. It's about achieving a state of being. You know you've arrived when you're no longer an intruder, when you've become so quiet in your mind and in your body that the world around you just kind of accepts you're there, without any disturbance. Once you've managed to get to this empty arrival, the discipline actually gets deeper. Now we're talking about the conduct of stillness itself, and this pretty radical ethic of not interfering with anything. And here's the contrast. You have the normal, busy mind versus the goal of silent decentralization. You know that little voice in your head that's always going, naming things, judging them, planning for better light? This philosophy says that even just naming something, that's a tree, that's a rock, is a way of claiming it. The alternative, just witness. Let it all pass. Join the flow of the landscape instead of trying to solve it like a puzzle. This whole discipline of non-interference really gets concrete with the single most important rule you have to follow out in the field. And it's a rule so central it can be represented by just this one stark number. Yep, the one exposure rule. Think about it. All those extra shots we take, the bracketing, constantly checking the back of a screen, it's all seen as a fundamental lack of trust in the moment itself. It's hedging against reality. The discipline is brutal but simple. If you've done the work, if you've found that perfect equilibrium, one frame is all you need. You have to trust that it's enough. And I think this quote just perfectly captures the spirit of it all. Your goal isn't to be seen, not to make your mark. It's to move with so much quiet respect that you basically become negligible. I mean, what a beautiful idea. A guest who doesn't wish to wake the host. All right, so let's say you follow this really intense practice of arriving and being still. What does the photograph, this residue, actually look like? And why does it look that way? So the images are always black and white, but this is really important. It's not a style choice. It's a tool for seeing. The thinking is that color is just too loud, you know? It screams a mood at you right away. By taking it out, you're forced to slow down and really engage with the deep structure of the scene. The textures, the lines, what's so beautifully called the bones of the land. And it's the exact same principle with long exposures. This isn't about getting those silky, dramatic waterfall shots you see everywhere online.
No, the goal here is to gather persistence. It's about recording the quiet, continuous flow of time itself, turning the ocean's waves into a visual record of its constant, steady breath.
This refusal to assert yourself extends even to the titles. So forget all those poetic names like, Solitude at Dawn, which basically tell you how you're supposed to feel about the picture. Instead, this practice uses only neutral, boring data: a grid reference, a date, a time. It's about returning the image to its origin, letting it just be, without forcing a story onto it. And this brings us right back to that central idea: the photograph. It's not the prize. It's not a trophy of your skill to hang on the wall. It is just the residue, the simple, anonymous proof that for a moment, you achieved a state of right relation, of quiet connection. Finally, the whole practice isn't over until you've left. And it turns out, how you leave is every bit as important as how you arrived. Even leaving is a ritual. It's designed to stop you from clinging to the experience. You pack up slowly, you leave cleanly, and, this part is huge, you fight that urge to hang around and savor the feeling of success. The whole goal is to leave without judgment, to carry the awareness with you, but not the attachment to what just happened. And this right here completely flips the idea of success on its head. Coming home with no picture at all isn't failure. In fact, it's seen as a good thing. It's a sign that your ego has finally stopped demanding results, that it's no longer begging to be entertained by the world. I mean, this single quote really just boils the entire philosophy down to its absolute core. It's not about getting something or capturing something or accumulating anything. The real work is in how you conduct yourself. The goal is to leave without a trace, both on the land and in your own mind. And the final realization is that this was never just about photography, was it? It's a discipline you can take with you anywhere. It's a practice for finding stillness, for moving differently through your everyday life. So it leaves us with a pretty big question. What would it take for you to stop asserting yourself and just vanish into the silence of your own world?